In the year 2022, gamers everywhere are in despair, with no good gaming podcast to listen to, until out of the ashes arose the multiplayer gaming podcast with its funny hosts, incredible gaming content, and phenomenal community. You too can be the hero the world needs by heading over to multiplayersquad.com and helping support the show. Now let's hear from our champions in this incredible episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Multiplayer Gaming Podcast. We are a pod run by three dads who have regular day jobs, and we get together and talk about one of our favorite hobbies, video games. Please make sure to rate our show 5 stars and leave a written review. You can find us on socials at MultiplayerPod, and we would also love it if you would come check out our Patreon page. We rely on our listeners to keep the lights on and keep these podcasts coming, and support starts at just $5 a month. If you join, you'll get some amazing perks like exclusive episodes every month, and who wants to miss out on extra content? To sign up, just go to multiplayersquad.com and become a squad mate. All right, time for some introductions. I am your host, Paul, and joining me is a man who enjoys a nice cup of grog. He's sailing the 7 seas, working to raise his infamy level. It's Josh.
Ooh, I feel like I would be a pretty infamous pirate.
Yeah.
You know,
I could definitely see you being a pirate in a different life.
I really do feel like I'd be the guy that got caught and then made an example of too, though.
You think so?
I mean, I'd like to think I would get away with things, but I really feel like at some point my infamy would just catch up to me.
Very nice. And then joining us, I really hope he doesn't quit the podcast and spill the beans on everything that happens behind the curtain here. Although, lucky for him, we don't have non-disclosure agreements like Bethesda. It's Michael.
Oh, thank goodness, because I talk about way too much stuff all the time. I feel like, living here in this watershed, I don't get to spill the beans enough, though. But I just wanted to use the word watershed because I'm still trying to figure that one out.
It's like if you buy someone like a calendar where they teach you a word a day and they're just forcing it. That's you with watershed ever since you learned it.
That'd be a watershed calendar.
It would be. All right. So today is Thursday, which means it's time for This Week in Gaming. And we can just call this the All Leaks episode. We are going to be talking about leaked video footage from Skull and Bones. We're going to talk about leaked information about Starfield. We also have leaked information about a new game in the works that's going to try to take on Rocket League. And before we jump into that, we do have a couple of announcements to talk about. So first of all, we are going to be switching up the next deep dive that we are doing. All apologies to Michael. Michael was so excited to announce that we were going to be doing Elite Dangerous, and we are immediately pulling the rug out from under him.
I actually have a plush pillow on my bed that when I get really sad, I snuggle with it. It's got a picture of Josh's beard on it, and I just hold it, and I cried into that pillow last night.
It's very funny that we do not pivot from deep dives when we announce one very often. I think we've done it maybe twice in the history of the show. Maybe. And then we finally go like, hey, we're going to do Elite Dangerous. And oh yeah, by the way, now, psych, how great would it be if we just always say, yeah, don't worry, we're going to do Elite Dangerous, and then we pivot. And then it's like, no, we're going to do Elite Dangerous, and then we just pivot.
Like every 2 weeks, we're just pivoting off Elite Dangerous onto whatever is the watershed game of the day.
I mean, I feel like we do have a very good reason to pivot off of doing this
great
Elite Dangerous deep dive.
Is it because we all got into a certain beta?
Oh,
maybe.
Yes.
Tell the people, Josh, what are we going to do instead?
Well, so we all got into the Overwatch 2 beta. We were very excited about it. We've talked about that on a couple recent episodes, but we all got in. And we started playing a little bit, and we went, man, there is enough changes to this game, basically, that we could actually do like an Overwatch 2 beta deep dive. And we just went, yeah, like, let's do that. It's current. It's the big thing going on right now. It just felt like it was the right time. And on top of that, Elite Dangerous is a monster of a game. And I feel like 2 weeks was probably not enough time to do it full justice either. So it kind of was a win-win for everybody.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it'll serve the Elite Dangerous episode well, and it's also nice just to get new information out, because we knew in theory a lot of the changes to Overwatch 2, but until you're actually playing and experiencing it, it's kind of hard to talk about. So even though we won't have access to any of the PvE stuff, we will be able to do a full deep dive on the PvP, all the changes, the new maps, the new game modes, all the character changes, so much to talk about. And then also, we want to reiterate another announcement that we made on our last deep dive on the Weird West episode. So if you really want like the long version of the announcement, you can always go back an episode and listen to that one. But we are also switching up some of our Patreon perks. So Michael, do you want to talk a little bit about the change that we made to the Epic tier?
Yeah, I'm not breaking my NDA if I do this, though, right?
No,
okay. I just wanted
there's a special clause. You're allowed to talk about Patreon.
Well, I don't read these things. I just sign them because they're like, hey, you're fired if you don't. I'm like, sign on the X. Yeah, so what we're doing is we're taking the same perks that you had with that $30 Epic tier, and we're making it more available to everybody at half price. $15 a month, everybody. See that? I added some sound effects in there because everything's better with sound effects.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yes, the Epic tier will not change other than being half the price. And then also we are switching up the bonus episodes that we used to offer. So we were doing the short quick take episodes that released twice a week, which we always said were like 5-minute episodes. And we are going to replace that instead, where we are going to release episodes twice a month that have all three of us present, that will be at least 30 minutes each. So you're going to get bonus episodes, whether you sign up under Rare, Epic, or Legendary. And so if you want to sign up for that, multiplayersquad.com is the place to do it. And you're going to be getting some awesome new bonus content, which we're going to call the Squadcast. So if you become a squad mate, if you become a squad mate, you get access to the Squadcast, and that's the way to do it.
This is actually my favorite part. I'm so excited because I love the quick takes, and we still get quick takes. But did I just NDA that wrong? Did I just...
No, go for it.
Spilled the beans, Michael. You might as well tell him.
Oh, man. That NDA again with that. What does that stand for?
Non-disclosure agreement.
Dumb as I
you
sound
signed
sometimes.
it, Michael. What do you...
All right, so we're also going to be giving you the quick takes. We'll be releasing one episode every single week from our log. So here's the coolest part, is that if you were supporting the show, you might have heard them. But you get to hear them again, and you get an extra 2 bonus episodes a month, though, the Squadcast, which is all 3 of us, that's my favorite part. I'm so excited to spend more time with you guys and to just chat about the cool things we love, answering some questions, and just random banter. So that's what I got there. NDA that.
Yeah. And the key thing there is that the quick takes coming out on Saturdays will be available to everybody. So if you have never heard them and you've never been able to support the show financially, you're going to be getting an extra episode every week now. So we will have our hour-long episodes on Monday, our half-hour This Week in Gaming's on Thursday, and a 5+ minute quick take on Saturday. So extra content for everybody.
Yeah, so wait, somehow we've lowered the cost of the Epic tier and we're giving you more content. That's awesome, right? I'm excited.
I mean, the listeners deserve it. Let's be honest.
Hashtag truth.
Yeah. This is honestly, this is, if you thought about supporting the show in the past, this is honestly the best time. One of the reasons that we lowered the Epic tier was we had a lot of people that said, hey, I love supporting the show. The entry level tier is $5 a month. I want to give you guys more, but it's a fairly significant jump to go from $5 a month to $30 a month. Do you have anything in between? Because I'd love to support more than just the $5. And we kind of went, well, no, we didn't. But, we've had enough people now that ask that it kind of makes sense, to be honest. And the legendary tier is going to stay the same because you do get to pick a game for us to deep dive. And so, that has worked out really well. And we want to kind of uphold the sanctity of that legendary tier. What good are legendary drops if they're all over the place, right? So that's
right.
Remaining the same. But for the people that wanted to do a little bit more support of the show versus just the rare tier, now it's a lot easier to do that. For everybody else, if you're listening, you are supporting the show, so thank you for that. You're going to get more content now for free too. So be on the lookout for those Saturday releases of those quick takes. They're awesome. They're easy. They're short. They're sweet. They've got a lot of really neat content to them. So I'm excited, man. Lots of awesome changes happening.
Yeah, and it's a really cool, intimate little one-on-one, too, because it's just one of us in the quick takes talking about something that we feel like is important to talk about at that time, and I think it's awesome. Also, because you brought it up, Josh, I have not experienced a legendary deep dive yet, so out there, I know I've got Redletter, Michele Butler, there was somebody else as well as legendary supporter. Guys, pick a game for me.
I may have been chatting with a listener the other night who was actually playing Overwatch 2 with us, by the way, because we do love playing games with our listeners as well, who may have spilled the beans saying that he is about to become a legendary supporter and was only agonizing over what game to make us play.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed it's not Fortnite.
I don't think it'll be Fortnite.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that we are like halfway through this episode, maybe we should jump into some
you guys want to talk
actual
about
content. Yeah. All right. So let's move into this week in gaming. So, Michael, I have no idea what you've been playing, but you did say that you had something that you were looking forward to talking about. I assume this is some kind of new game you've gotten into?
Yes, absolutely. My friend in support of the show, Quite a Tool, has been hounding me to try this Finnish game, Finnish from Finland. That's a country. And shout out to any Finnish supporters that we have, or Finnish listeners as well. But it's called My Summer Car, and it's a survival game somehow, because you have to eat, drink, hop in a sauna, reduce your stress, all kinds of stuff like that. While you're literally, like, the game starts and you're staring at a garage with this broken down shell of a car, and in the garage is, like, you know, those big industrial Costco shelves you've got that have they're just giant metal racks, and there's car parts all over them, and the whole point of the game is literally just to assemble this car while you're watching to not starve to death or get too much stress, or you actually have to go to the bathroom in the game, and it's hilarious. But I've been absolutely addicted to it. I can probably only play it for like an hour and a half at a time, and not knowing much about cars, it's actually teaching me a bit. I do, full disclosure, use a guide on how to put a motor together, but you literally put everything on. You have to screw the bolts in, you have to put the whole motor together piece by piece, the head gasket, the headers, everything, the exhaust, and I don't know, man. It's a breath of fresh air, but I've been all about it. So My Summer Car, if you want to hate yourself for a little bit, play that game. It's fun, but I hate myself for playing it.
I just never been able to get my brain wrapped around these simulator type games. Like, my kids went wild for Goat Simulator for a little while, and I just laughed. I was like, a goat simulator? But now, I mean, you've got, you know, Euro trucking simulator, you've got lawnmower simulator. I mean, you've got the power washing simulator. Like, I get, like, they seem like they're relaxing games, I guess. Like, is that the shtick? Is that they're relaxing?
This game is not relaxing. It is extremely stressful because you're sitting there trying to drop this motor in the car after you spent probably like 4 hours of game time actually building this motor. And then it's like, oh, my character has to go to the bathroom. So, like, I'm like, I have to stop dropping this motor. I have to run over and go
drop something else.
Yeah, go drop something else. And then I've got to eat things, and I'm drinking out of the... It's hilarious, but it is kind of, I would say it is kind of relaxing once you get the hang of the survival part of it, but it is a survival game first and engine builder second, but I do like it. It's challenging, though. That's what I like about it. It's a hard game. There's no sugarcoating. It's a hard game.
So I'm watching footage of this, and yeah, when you need to relieve your urine meter, you're in first person perspective here in the bathroom. This is an element I'm not sure I've seen in a game before. I don't know how I feel about it.
It's not graphic, but you see
does it have like an aiming mini game?
Kind of.
So there's drips going all over this bathroom in the footage that I'm watching.
I have to say that I didn't think it mattered at all, but the first couple times that I relieved myself, I'm like, this game's not going to be that detailed, right? I'm in the middle of something. I'm just going to do it right in the middle of my kitchen. I stained the floor in my kitchen. There is a permanent urine stain in the kitchen of my house, and I can't get rid of it.
Now, have you died? Like, you can actually die?
Yeah, I've died, and there's an option for permadeath or not permadeath. And I had permadeath on.
It's a roguelite.
Yeah, and I was out trying to go and gather these GT wheels for my car because someone was like, hey, get the GT wheels. It's found in this broken down shed. You got to drive for like a half an hour to get there. And I was driving my uncle's tractor because the car wasn't running yet. And I went to get them, and I'm on my way back, and I had a heart attack because my stress levels got too high because I wasn't near my sauna.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was literally going to ask if you could get a heart attack from the stress meter, so that's quite funny.
And I had to completely start over and then go in the settings and turn off permadeath. Also, when you first start the game, side note, you do make a fake driver's license, and I originally thought the game was Swedish, but I may have imported a picture of Stellan Skarsgård, one of my favorite actors, and called my character Stellan Skarsgård.
That's okay. Is he Finnish? Is that why you picked
He's
him?
Swedish. I thought the game was
close
Swedish because someone told me it was Swedish. Might have been quite cool, might not have been. And then later on, I'm like, that's the Finnish flag. That's a Finland flag right there because you got a big Finland flag in your garage. Anyways, we can move on. But seriously, this game's ridiculous. Play it. It's pretty casual. You can come back to it, leave it. But it's awesome.
Is this an actual recommendation from you then, Michael?
I actually think it is. And it's funny because I was going to do a quick take on this, and now y'all are just going to have to wait because I might have to still do a quick take on it and just throw it in the regular lineup somewhere. But I do recommend this game, actually. It's a lot of fun. It is frustrating. It's hard, but there's something about it that's just so unique.
It looks a little bit like work. That's my one hang up.
It's absolutely work.
A lot of these simulators, I feel like I'm just like, I mean, if I wanted to mow the grass, I'd just go mow our grass. But I don't want to. That's the whole reason.
Yeah, it's absolutely work, but still play it. It's good work.
Oh, what a goofy game. How much does it cost? This can't be very much.
Oh, I don't even know. It was $15. I believe I got it for $15 on Steam.
Right.
Yeah, it's really cheap. So
if you spend $15 and you get 4 hours of entertainment, that's a win.
Oh, yeah. 4 hours is just trying to figure out how to get to the store and back. Shoot.
Yeah.
I was going to say, knowing Michael, he probably bought the ultra deluxe $100 fancy box set.
Sadly, they don't have one, or I would have.
All right. Well, that's very nice, Michael. I don't think this game would have hit my radar if you didn't bring it up. And I did have to mute myself while chuckling at some of this footage. So I do enjoy the recommendation. Anything you've been playing that you want to talk about, Josh? I don't. I've just been solely playing our deep dive games.
I was going to say, Overwatch 2 beta, I've been having a blast, to be honest. No spoilers, but yeah, I'm hopping in there every chance I get.
I keep waiting for the invite from you guys to come play, and maybe you're just like, we actually want to win a match, so Butler can't come along.
You're going to have to learn a new healer, Michael, because Mercy is kind of tough in Overwatch 2. We'll have to talk about it later. But
I honestly really want to play Orisa and try that first to see how the changes are. I'm really excited to get in there and do that, because disclosure, I haven't played it yet, because we just downloaded the beta a couple days ago, and I was seriously sitting here in this office alone for a couple of hours the other night waiting for Paul and Josh to just /invite me.
Nice. You'll have to get your javelin on.
Yeah, I want to see what that's like. Yeah.
All right. So let's start off by talking about Skull and Bones. Now, Skull and Bones, I think we might have brought up once or twice before. We have talked a little bit about it. This is a game that is in the works by Ubisoft. I think they've been working on it for like 8 years at this point. The game has already cost them something like $120 million.
That's crazy.
And there was a little bit of leaked footage because they opened the game up to a technical beta test, and somebody leaked a little bit of footage this week. So there was a 6-minute like narrated tutorial that was really just to get you set up in order to jump in and start playing the game right off the bat. All of us got a chance to watch that leaked footage, which was verified by Ubisoft as being legit. Anything that stuck out? Do you guys feel optimistic, pessimistic? What were your impressions?
I feel a little pessimistic, to be honest with you. I watched the 6-minute leaked footage trailer, and then in preparation, I went back and I watched because they did a 23-minute E3 2018 kind of presentation where they showed a lot of gameplay, and the combat on the ocean does not look like it has changed at all. Yeah. So from 2018 to 2022, none of that looks like it has changed. And at the end of that 23-minute video, I was so bored from watching that video. No, I'm not to sound like, but it's this thing where it was a 23-minute video and they did the exact same thing over and over and over again for 23 minutes straight. And I get that they've had 4 years now to change this game, and they have said, hey, this game kind of really went through a really rough time in development, and we've pivoted away from what you've seen before. But even in this 6-minute video, you see some of the combat and the animations still look the same. it's still they're not going to scrap everything. And so that seemed very, very similar to what we saw back in 2018. I was very excited for Skull and Bones because who doesn't want to play a massive multiplayer online pirate game? But I am very skeptical now. I did not see anything that actually really blew me away on this.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like, the graphics look nice. I like, the shading looks great. I like the shading. That's one thing I kind of noticed. I'm like, hey, it looks good. It's weird that I called out shading specifically, but like, if you get shading wrong in a game that takes place in the sun and then stuff like that, then sometimes it can just look it can kind of take you out. The game looks great, yes, but at the same point, I'm going to agree with Josh, which you all know I hate doing. I hate agreeing with him, but but I'm going to agree with him completely and be like, I'm just not. I'm still excited, but my excitement bar has now become a please just be good excitement bar where I'm still holding on to my hope, and maybe I should let the hope go, but it's still a pirate game. It still looks awesome, but it doesn't look as awesome.
I think you got to let go of all that hope, boys. I don't think this one looks interesting in the least. Like, the most exciting thing about Sea of Thieves was engaging in naval combat and launching one of us out of the cannon to board the other ship.
That was so great.
Right? And in Skull and Bones, what do? You fight another ship, and when you get it below a certain amount of health, you just hit a button. There's a very short, quick scene of your crew jumping over, grabbing a chest, and coming back, and then you just move on to your next battle. So the fact that you're not getting out and getting into those like sword fights. Now, of course, Ubisoft did say that the footage that we saw was old and they've made a lot of changes. I don't know that I'm terribly interested in playing a game where you are only, for the most part, when you're out on the ocean, you're never leaving your ship. You're just sailing around. They even show them collecting ore and chopping trees. Even that stuff you don't get out of your ship for. They're just sitting there in the boat, and then all of a sudden they collect all these mats.
Yeah, it has to be a lot more dynamic than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is footage of you running around on foot. They did say there's things like these treasure hunts and things of that nature. But from what I saw, I'm not terribly excited to try it out. And also, when you do multiplayer, I don't think this is going to let you all be on the same boat. You're just going to be a fleet of ships.
Yeah,
and I have very little interest in doing that.
Yeah, to your point though, like them saying, "Oh, this was old footage you're watching," sounds a little bit like it sounds like backpedaling to me because of the negative reaction, or if it got out and they're like, yeah, it does look kind of like a boring game. It sounds like they're literally just trying to be like, hey, let's just backpedal a little bit and just be like, hey guys, it's just old footage. The game has changed a lot. Well, we haven't seen a change in 4 years because 2018 minus negative 2022 or whatever the math is there is 4 years. That's a long time to make a lot of changes to the game, and I haven't seen them.
My biggest thing with this is in my brain, and maybe this is my fault, but in my brain, I imagine Skull and Bones being this MMO where you have these central hubs and you're recruiting pirates and you're trying to find things and you're doing these quests, and then you're going out on your ship and sailing around this massive ocean, finding islands, getting off your ship, exploring these islands, maybe getting into gunfights and pistol fights and stuff like that, or digging up treasure chests and, Sea of Thieves type stuff. And everything that we have seen says that you absolutely live on your boat 100% of the time. Now, they did show a guy that was off of the boat walking up to what looked like a cabin built on an island or something, but it almost looked like that was just a scripted event, to where it's like if you press a menu button and you're like, hey, I want to go to my inventory, that little cutscene is going to play, and then you get an inventory screen. It didn't seem like it was dynamic in that regard. And what I saw and I know it's changed, but again, a lot of this stayed the same as well. But from the 2018 23-minute video, all they did was the exact same thing over and over and over again. They'd fight a ship, they'd board it, they'd take the loot, they'd go on, they'd fight a ship, they'd board it, they'd take the loot, they'd repair their ship, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And I just went, like, is this it? Because if this is what they're showing to get people hyped, It's having the exact opposite effect, man. Like, this is really putting me off of this game because I'm bored after 20 minutes of it. And that's my biggest fear, man. For a game that's been in development for 10 years now, 8 years, something like that, I was really hoping they'd have a lot more gameplay aspects to show off.
I mean, just go play Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and I think it's going to be better than what we're going to get from this.
Right, exactly.
It seems like it would be. In this case, honestly, with all the repetitiveness and the single direction on the game, like if you can only be in your boat, like, I don't know, it sounds like a mobile game to me. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, like PC games are more dynamic. If you've got like, hey, let's go around, let's do things, let's do more stuff. Like, all we're doing is boats. Save yourselves $120 million and just release a mobile game where you're sailing around and shooting people with cannons.
It seemed very one-dimensional.
Yeah, totally agree. And that makes me really, really sad because I was looking forward to this one. I would love to have a great pirate game. Sea of Thieves had some really fun moments, and then it just got too repetitive. Maybe just by nature, sailing, grabbing a chest over and over. I don't think that's the formula. Someone's going to have to come up with something a little bit more creative than that.
Yeah, and I think Atlas did a good job with it, but the game was so broken that it's hard to play. And they had a good thing going, but it was very broken. So somebody please out there, please make a pirate game that's going to be fun. And maybe we'll deep dive this one. Maybe we'll be wrong. Maybe we'll eat our words in a few months or a year when it comes out. I hope so. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. And as much as I'm looking forward to the new Monkey Island game, I'm not talking about a really good point and click pirate game. I want a really good action pirate game. All right. So let's move on to the next story because we are quickly running out of time here. There was a character artist who worked for Bethesda, and they just recently quit, and they had signed an NDA where they are not allowed to talk about current projects. Apparently, he thought that if you just quit, you're released from your NDA. Spoiler alert, that's not how it works. This guy might be in some legal trouble. A lot of legal trouble, maybe. And he came out and tweeted a bunch of information about Starfield that I thought was interesting because we even said we have not had any leaks about Starfield. Nobody really knows anything, which I thought was rather remarkable. And all of a sudden, now it actually did happen. So in the news that we got, anything that stuck out to you guys?
Can I just read the spoiler? Because it might be hard to find. And so it's one of these things where maybe if I just read it to the people that are listening, they'll kind of get an idea of what some of the spoiler was.
Sure, go for it.
All right, so this is what the actual guy that worked at Bethesda said. So this is like the major snippet. This is the news. So he said it was a cool, solid place to work, very secure. The engine is a piece of poo, though. Todd is a charismatic guy. Starfield is looking good. Weekly Thursday playtest since the beginning of the year. More and more stuff coming online. Shooting feels all right. Flying is terrible at the moment. In my opinion, it's just not fun for me. Lighting and stuff is looking better and better, though it's not at the level of HFW.
Horizon Forbidden West.
That's right, because they did work on Forbidden West. That's right.
That's right, yeah.
Or anything like that, but still a good-looking game. In terms of it will ship on time, well, they will try, that's for sure. They'll cut what they need to do, etc. If they have an overabundance of content, probably too much, so that's not the issue. Finding the fun and, of course, bug fixing is the big thing. It's a sexy date, though, and you only get one of these. Beta is this summer. That's when the picture will become truly clear. Now, the date is 11/11/22. That's the release date for Starfield. What do you guys think about this? Anything that jumps out at you?
I love hearing overabundance of content.
I do too.
I love hearing that. Yes. Just give me a lot to do. The galaxy is a very big place. Just let me explore, let me fight, let me run missions, give me a compelling story, and I will be happier than a pig in mud. And when I hear overabundance of content, I love it. So even if they do need to scale back a bit, I love that they shot for the stars first, and then they're going to pull back if needed.
Yeah, and I think also there's one thing that came in the article a little bit later on that where it was saying on the air quotes, the engine is a nightmare or a piece of poo or whatever they said. That's not necessarily what you're going to experience as a user.
Yeah.
He was referring to working on the engine was a nightmare.
Developer side.
Yeah, the developer side of it is absolutely horrid. As far as the lighting and stuff, I don't care. Like, Bethesda's never had the best graphics. They've been fine. Skyrim looked good, didn't look great in 2011 when it came out. Looked good, looked fine. it was the content that I liked in that game, not so much how immersive the world looked, which it looked good enough. And so, to Paul's credit and his point as well, it's all about the overabundance of content. That's what I want. Yep, and I'm happy to hear that.
The two things that I really liked confirmed from this leak was two things. Number one, space flight, because we weren't sure, right? We didn't know, are you going to be able to pilot your ship in space and manually fly around and kind of do that? And this seems to confirm that, which makes me very happy. The other thing is he mentioned that shooting feels all right. So that tells me that you can land on a planet and then you have combat that is on a planet. And I absolutely love that sense of being out in space, seeing a planet or something, landing, and doing that. He could be referencing space flight combat, which I'm down with that too.
Yeah.
So, if it has both,
yeah, for sure,
then I'm very happy. I don't Michael, you hit the nail on the head on this one. Bethesda graphics have always been okay. They've never been terrible. They've never been great. I don't care about that with Starfield. I mean, it would be nice for the game to be pretty, but that is not what makes Bethesda games at all. The overabundance of content, a la Skyrim, Oblivion, and Fallout, and all of these other amazing Bethesda games is what I'm truly hungry for. Even if they need to cut a little bit of it to make the release date, that should still give us more than enough content at that point. So this is good news to me. I know that he was kind of saying, hey, it's not there yet, and we're only a few months away from that, but I'm feeling pretty good based off of this leak that came out.
Yeah, and I had a buddy a while back who, ironically enough, it's like the dream story, right? He ended up working for a developer as a game tester, and one day they said, hey, would you like to make games instead? And became a game designer. And he said that the development of games, like he says, so much work happens in the last 2 or 3 months. He says it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare because you work a 40-hour work week until, for years, until the last couple of weeks. And then it's like the movies where you're sleeping under your desk for a half an hour to get back up and work on the game again. So by saying it's not there yet, we know that games are really polished in the last couple of months. It doesn't concern me at all.
One of the things he said in that was that the systems are coming online. He said a lot of the systems are coming together because what happens is you have a lot of different teams developing a lot of different things. And then, like you said, closer to the end, they start to put those all together into the game. And so this guy saying, hey, all these systems are starting to come together now is honestly another good thing, in my opinion. Like, he's not saying, hey, this isn't working or any of that stuff. So interesting leak. This guy's going to be in trouble, I feel like.
Honestly, it might go the other way. It might go where they scare him a whole bunch on his NDA. And then it might be something where they realize that sometimes any press is good press, and it ends up being a good thing, because guess what we're doing right now? We're talking about Starfield.
Yeah, but we didn't sign an NDA, so...
Right, exactly. But everybody this week's going to be talking about this, and now all that's going to do is create more hype for the game. So it might be something where they scare this guy a little bit and say, hey, listen, don't do it again. And also, if you didn't quit, you're fired.
Yeah, he definitely already quit. He already had his last day. And I felt like there was nothing that scared me here. I think if some people hear this engine is a piece of crap, that's going to scare them. But it doesn't matter on the gameplay side as long as it's functional. Red Dead Redemption 1 famously cannot be ported to PC today because the coding is I don't even know the right phrase for it. It's just such a mess. So as long as it performs, who cares? All right. And then hopping into our last story of the week, this might be my favorite one. So 2K Games has decided that they are going to make a game to compete with Rocket League. They are going to call this game Gravity Goal. By the way, a terrible name.
That's the worst name ever.
What is that?
It's such a bad name. Gravity Goal. And instead of being in cars, like in Rocket League, you will be riding a Tron-like bike.
All right, you guys know I absolutely love Rocket League. I play, no exaggeration, I probably play 4 to 5 matches of Rocket League every single day of my life. Sometimes more, but it's very rare that I go a day without hopping into at least 4 matches. So for me to hear that there is a brand new competitor game to Rocket League, you know what that makes me feel like? Absolutely nothing, because I could care less, because I'll never stop playing Rocket League. Like, why? Why try to copy that? That's one of those things where you just go, dude, they have mastered it. There's nothing we can do at that point.
And Rocket League's already free. Like, how can you compete with it? They have the full market share. Everybody loves it. It's a perfect game for what it is. Rocket League has nothing they can really do to improve upon. So I really can't imagine this game making enough of a dent into Rocket League that they're going to make a lot of money. The only thing I could kind of pick up on is that they did mention in the leaked information that you will be able to damage opponents' bikes by hitting them with a hockey puck-like disc. So is this going to be a little bit of like Twisted Metal meets Rocket League? That's the only thing I could think. Maybe there'll be a little bit more of a combat bend to this. I don't know. It's hard to imagine.
Derby style.
Do you know what the special mode in Rocket League is right now as we're recording this? A battle royale.
Oh, nice.
And guess what they're doing? You basically take out the other Rocket League cars. You can like grab them and then throw them into these spikes. So, I mean, and it's terrible, honestly. Like, maybe I'm just a purist for Rocket League, but this mode sucks, in my opinion. And you guys know I love Twisted Metal, so it's like, okay, that would be great, but they're two different games. You don't mix Rocket League and the mechanics and sports aspect of that with like car demolition type stuff either. I could be less impressed by this news because it's just one of those things where Rocket League is perfect. You can't take on Rocket League and try to copy it. Like, you could try to do something new, but if you're just saying we want to make a game that's going to compete with that and you call it Gravity Goal of all things, man, it's like, okay, well, that's off my interest list immediately.
I feel like I can imagine right now the developer's room when they came up with this idea, and it goes something like this. Hey guys, Rocket League is really good. There's not much out there like it. I think we can, but it's been out for a little bit. I think we can totally harness this market. So what do you want to use, Bruce? And Bruce is like, boats, dude, boats. And they're like, nah, man, boats are just, we got to do the water. It's going to be a nightmare. Like, what about bicycles? What about motorbikes? Bruce, write that down. Yeah, let's do, remember that movie Tron? It was really cool. Let's do Tron bikes.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
I can't imagine that this is going to turn out well. To what you were saying earlier, Josh, I feel like Knockout City is the right approach. What is like a game that we can make free to play that's like 3v3 and they're fast matches and you can just keep playing over and over? That to me made sense. I don't know that this is going to be different enough from Rocket League that it's going to matter.
Yeah, I can't see it, to be honest.
I don't think any of us really care about this game at all. The only thing I care about is just the name. Like, maybe workshop that for another day or
Gravity
two.
Goal.
Right.
It sounds like a placeholder name. So maybe it won't even be the final name.
So.
I don't know. All right. Well, we are all out of time for today. So that was This Week in Gaming. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will be back with a quick take episode now on Saturday. I'm going to have to get used to start saying that now.
Nice.
And then after that, we will have our full hour-plus long episode, which will be a bonus round on Monday. So we really hope that you guys enjoy the new format with the quick takes. And then come check us out on socials at Multiplayer Pod and on Patreon at multiplayersquad.com. I think that's it, guys. I think it's time to go hop into some Overwatch.
I was going to say,
right?
It's time, Michael.
Yeah. I got a grocery store pickup to do, but I'll be right in.
All right. Well, happy gaming, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, all.
See you, everybody.